My name is Omar Khalidi. I'm 28 years old, and I used to be the assistant imam at one of the largest mosques in Karachi, Pakistan. Everyone called me the Golden Son, the one destined for greatness, the one who would carry on my father's legacy. But I walked away from all of it, not because I wanted to, because I discovered something in that mosque that shattered everything I thought I knew about Islam, about my father, and about God. Let me start from the beginning. I was born into a family where religion wasn't just important, it was everything. My father, Imam Rashid Khalidi, was one of the most respected religious leaders in our city. Every Friday, thousands of people gathered to hear him preach. His voice echoed through the loudspeakers, calling people to prayer, to devotion, to submission. He was revered, honored, almost worshipped. And I was his eldest son. From the moment I could speak, I was being groomed. Memorize this surah, recite this hadith, lead this prayer. By the time I was 14, I was leading prayers in front of hundreds of people. By 21, I had completed my Islamic studies. By 25, I was assistant imam. I was everything my father wanted me to be. But inside, I was empty. I went through the motions, I said the right words, I performed the rituals, but I felt nothing. No peace, no presence, no connection to Allah. Just duty. My father was a distant man, cold. He never hugged me, never told me he was proud, never asked how I was feeling. To him, I was a project, a legacy, an extension of his reputation. And I accepted it, because that's what sons do, right? They carry the weight their fathers place on them. But when I turned 25 and became assistant imam, I started noticing things. Small things at first. Money disappearing from the donation box. Whispered conversations that stopped when I walked into a room. Young boys, 10, 11, 12 years old, being called into my father's office. Alone. For long periods of time. I tried to ignore it. I told myself I was imagining things, but the feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. Something was wrong. Very, very wrong. And 3 years later, on a night I will never forget, I found out exactly what it was. If you've ever suspected that something holy was hiding something horrible, if you've ever been torn between loyalty and truth, if you've ever felt like the foundation of your entire life was built on a lie, then I need you to do something for me. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment your thoughts, and share the story. Because what I discovered in that mosque didn't just destroy my faith in Islam, it led me to the one who was actually truth. And if my story can help even one person break free from the darkness, then everything I lost will have been worth it. It started with the numbers. I was in charge of organizing the mosque's donation records, cataloging how much came in, where it went, which projects were funded. It was tedious work, but I was good at it. And one evening, as I was going through the books, I noticed something. The numbers didn't add up. Thousands of rupees were missing, unaccounted for. I went through the records again and again. Same result. I brought it to my father the next day. "Baba," I said carefully, showing him the ledger, "there's money missing, a lot of it. Do you know where it went?" He barely glanced at the page. "It was used for mosque expenses," he said flatly. "But there's no record. Omar, stop questioning me. I am the imam. I know what I'm doing." "But the community donated that money for..." "Enough." He stood and walked out of the room, leaving me standing there, holding the ledger, my heart pounding. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the missing money, about the boys, about the locked door in my father's office that I'd never been allowed to open. At 2 a.m., I made a decision. I got dressed, grabbed a set of keys my father didn't know I had, and drove back to the mosque. The building was dark, silent. I unlocked the side entrance and stepped inside. My footsteps echoed on the marble floor. I made my way to my father's office, my hands shaking. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. Everything looked normal. Desk, bookshelf, prayer mat, Quran stand. But I knew there was more. I walked to the bookshelf, a massive wooden structure covering the entire back wall. I'd always thought it was just for decoration. But as I ran my hands along the edges, I felt it, a latch hidden behind a row of books. I pulled the latch, and the entire bookshelf swung open, revealing a door. I stared at it, my heart hammering in my chest. "Don't open it," a voice in my head whispered. "Walk away, forget you ever saw this." But I couldn't. I had to know. I pushed the door open and stepped into a small, windowless room. What I saw inside made me physically sick. There were photos, dozens of them, pinned to a corkboard on the wall. Photos of young boys, inappropriate photos. I turned away, bile rising in my throat. But there was more.
Stacks of foreign currency, US dollars, euros, rubber banded and piled in a corner, bottles of alcohol hidden in a cabinet, and documents, financial documents showing wire transfers to organizations I recognized, extremist groups, terrorist networks. My father, the man who preached about piety and righteousness and submission to Allah, was funding jihad and abusing children. I stumbled out of a room, gasping for air, my mind reeling. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. But it was. I leaned against the wall, trying to steady myself, trying to think. And then I heard a voice. "What are you doing here, Omar?" I froze. I turned, and there, standing in the doorway of the office, arms crossed, face unreadable, was my father. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. My father's eyes moved from me to the open bookshelf, to the secret room, and back to me. "I asked you a question," he said quietly. "What is that room?" I whispered. He didn't answer. He walked past me, into the room, and closed the door behind him. When he came back out, his face was calm. Too calm. "Sit down," he said. "Baba, what?" "Sit." I sat. He stood in front of me, hands behind his back, looking down at me like I was a child who had broken a rule. "You were not supposed to see that," he said. "What have you done?" I breathed. He sighed, like I was inconveniencing him. "You're too naive to understand how the world works, Omar. You think Islam spreads through preaching alone, through charity, through kindness?" He leaned forward. "It spreads through power, through money, through men willing to fight. That room, that's how we fund the real work, the work that matters." I stared at him, horrified. "You're funding terrorists." "I'm funding mujahideen," he corrected. "Soldiers of Allah." "And the boys?" I choked out. "The photos? What about them?" His face darkened. "You don't understand. You're abusing children," I shouted, standing up. "You're a monster!" He slapped me, hard, across the face. I stumbled back, my cheek burning, my ears ringing. "You will not speak to me that way," he hissed. "I am your father. I am an imam. You will show respect." "I'll tell the police," I said, my voice shaking. "I'll tell the mosque board. I'll tell everyone." "No, you won't." His voice was ice. "Because if you do, I will destroy you." I stared at him. "I will tell the community you've been stealing from the mosque. I will say you've gone mad. I will have you declared Majnoon, insane, and no one will believe you." He stepped closer. "And if that doesn't work, I'll go after your mother, your sister. I'll make sure they suffer for your betrayal." "You wouldn't?" "Try me." I stood there, shaking, tears streaming down my face. This man, this monster, was my father, and I was trapped. The next few days were a nightmare. I tried to go to the mosque board, but they were all loyal to my father. They dismissed me without even listening. I tried to pray, but I felt nothing, just emptiness. I started having panic attacks, nightmares. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. My faith, the foundation of my entire life, was shattered. If Islam produced men like my father, if it allowed this kind of evil to hide in its holiest places, then what was it really? One night, in desperation, I did something I had never done before. I opened my laptop and I searched, "Is Islam true?" I found debates, articles, testimonies from people who had left Islam. And then I found a video. A man, Pakistani, former Muslim. He talked about leaving Islam after discovering contradictions in the Quran. And then he said something that stopped me cold. One night, I was at my lowest point, and I prayed to a God I wasn't sure existed. I said, "If you're real, show me." And that night, Jesus appeared to me in a dream. I watched the rest of the video in stunned silence, and when it ended, I sat there in the dark, staring at the screen. "Jesus," I whispered. I didn't know why I said it, but I did. And then I prayed, not to Allah, to whoever was listening. "If you're real, if you're different from this, show me, please. I can't do this anymore." I closed my laptop, I lay down, and I fell asleep. And then I dreamed. I was standing in the mosque, but it was wrong. The lights were off, the air was heavy, oppressive, suffocating, and it was filled with darkness. Not just the absence of light, but a thick, living darkness that seemed to press against my chest. I tried to move, but my feet were frozen, and then I heard it, weeping, children's voices, crying, begging. I turned and saw them, the boys from the photos, standing in the shadows, reaching towards me. "Help us," they whispered. I tried to reach them, but I couldn't move. "I'm sorry," I choked out. "I'm so sorry." And then, light, brilliant, blinding, beautiful light. It pierced through the darkness like a sword. And the shadows fled. I shielded my eyes, and when I lowered my hand, I saw him. A man, dressed in white, walking through the mosque as if he owned it. And wherever he walked, the darkness vanished. He approached me, and I saw his face, kind, strong, sorrowful, and his hands scarred. "Who are you?" I whispered. He looked at me with eyes that seemed to see straight into my soul. "I am the way, the truth, and the life," he said. His voice was gentle, but it carried a weight that made my knees weak. You're Isa," I breathed, using the Arabic name for Jesus. He smiled sadly. "I am Jesus," he said, "the Son of God." "No," I said, shaking my head. "You're just a prophet. You're not God. You didn't die on a cross. The Quran says—" He held up his hands. I stared at the scars. Deep. Real. "I died for you, Omar," he said softly. "For your father. For those boys. For all the broken, the abused, the lied to." Tears filled my eyes. "Why didn't you stop him?" I demanded, my voice breaking. "If you're God, why didn't you stop my father from hurting those children?" Jesus' face filled with grief. "Each man I gave free will," he said. "Your father chose darkness. He chose to use his power to harm instead of heal, to control instead of love." He stepped closer. "But you, Omar, you can choose light." "I don't know how. I don't know what's true anymore. I don't know who to trust." "Trust me," he said simply, and he placed his hand on my shoulder. The moment he touched me, I felt it. Peace. Real, overwhelming, soul-deep peace. Like every broken piece of me was being held together by something, someone stronger than my pain. "You've been searching for truth your whole life, and here I am." I looked into his eyes. "What do I do?" "Follow me," he said, "even when it costs you everything." I woke up gasping, tears streaming down my face, my heart pounding. It was 5 a.m. The call to prayer was echoing through the city. But I didn't move. I just sat there trembling, replaying the dream over and over. Jesus, not a prophet, the Son of God, the truth. I knew what I had to do. I had to expose my father, and I had to leave Islam. But first, I needed proof. That afternoon, I went back to the mosque. I brought my phone, and I went to the secret room. I took photos of everything, the money, the documents, the evidence. I was almost finished when I heard footsteps. I turned. My father was standing in the doorway, and he was not alone. 2 of my father's closest associates stood behind him. Large men, loyal men, men who would do anything he asked. "What are you doing, Omar?" my father asked, his voice dangerously calm. I held up my phone. "Gathering evidence," I said. His eyes narrowed. "Evidence of what?" "Your crimes," I said, my voice steady despite the fear coursing through me. "The embezzlement, the abuse, the funding of terrorists, all of it." One of the men stepped forward, but my father held up a hand, stopping him. "You're making a mistake," he hissed. "No," I said, "I'm fixing one. If you go public with this, you'll destroy this family. You'll destroy me." "You destroyed yourself," I shot back. His face twisted with rage. "I am your father," he roared. "I gave you everything. I made you who you are." "You made me a prisoner," I said, my voice breaking. "You made me complicit in your evil. You used Islam to hide your sins. Islam is perfect. It is you who are weak." "No," I said quietly. "I saw him." My father froze. "What?" "I saw Jesus," I said. "In a dream, he spoke to me and he showed me the truth." My father's face went pale, then red. "You kafir, you filthy apostate." He lunged at me. I barely dodged. He grabbed my phone, trying to wrestle it from my hands. "You will not ruin me." But I had already backed up the photos. I shoved him away and ran. Out of the room, out of the mosque, into my car. I drove straight to a journalist I had researched online, a man known for exposing corruption. I showed him everything. He believed me, and within 48 hours, the story broke. Prominent Karachi Imam arrested on charges of embezzlement and child abuse. The mosque was raided. My father was taken into custody. The evidence was undeniable. But I became a target. My family disowned me. My mother wept and begged me to recant. My younger sister refused to speak to me. The community labeled me a traitor, an apostate, a tool of the West. I received death threats, dozens of them. People I had known my entire life turned their backs on me, and I was alone. Completely, utterly alone. One night, sitting in a cheap hotel room, staring at the ceiling, I almost gave in. Maybe I should recant. Maybe I should say I lied. Maybe I should go back. But then, I remembered the dream. Jesus, standing in the darkness, bringing light. I opened my phone. I had downloaded a Bible app in secret. I opened it, and I read, John 8:32. "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." I read it again, and I realized something. I was free. For the first time in my life, free from the lies, free from the fear, free from my father. There was a knock at the door. I froze. "Who is it?" I called out. No answer. Just another knock. I opened the door a crack. 2 men stood outside. Men from the mosque. "We need to talk," one of them said. I knew what that meant. I slammed the door and ran. I barely made it out. I climbed through a back window, dropped into an alley, and ran. I didn't stop until I was miles away. I called the journalist. "I need help," I gasped. He didn't hesitate. Within 2 hours, I was in a safe house in Lahore, connected to an underground network of Pakistani Christians and ex-Muslims. People who had walked the same path I was walking. People who had lost everything for Jesus. The safe house was a small apartment, crowded, but safe. There were 7 of us, a former Muslim woman named Aisha, who had been disowned by her family, a young man named Bilal, whose father had tried to kill him for leaving Islam, an older man named Tariq, a former imam who had been beaten and left dead when he converted, and others, each with a story, each with scars, but also each with hope. "Welcome, brother," Tariq said, embracing me. I broke down in his arms. That night, they took me to a secret church. It was in a basement, hidden, guarded. But when I walked in, I heard singing. Not the haunting call to prayer I had grown up with, but joyful, passionate worship. People lifting their hands, smiling, weeping, worshiping Jesus. I stood there, overwhelmed. This was what I had been searching for my whole life. Not duty, not fear, but love. After the service, Tariq pulled me aside. "Are you ready?" he asked. "For what?" "To be baptized." I stared at him. I don't know if I'm ready. I've only just... "Jesus is ready," Tariq said gently. "Are you?" I thought about the dream, about the scars on his hands, about the peace I felt when he touched me. "Yes," I whispered. "I'm ready." 3 days later, in a hidden location outside the city, I was baptized in a river at night, surrounded by believers. And as I came up out of the water, I felt it again, that peace, that overwhelming, soul-deep peace. I was free. But the fight wasn't over. My father had been released on bail, and he was using every ounce of his influence to destroy me. He claimed I had stolen from the mosque, that I had slandered him, that I was mentally unstable. The media began to turn. Some believed him. And I faced a choice: flee the country or stay and testify in court. If I fled, I would be safe, but my father would go free and he would continue to harm others. If I stayed, I might not survive. I prayed for hours, and I heard Jesus whisper in my heart, "I stood before Pilate for you. Will you stand for me?" I made my decision. I would testify. The court date was set, but the night before, I received a message from an unknown number. "If you testify tomorrow, your sister will pay the price." My blood ran cold. Zara, my 15-year-old sister. They were threatening her. I sat there staring at the message, my hands shaking. What do I do? What do I do? I prayed. And then, my phone buzzed again. Another message. From Zara.
"Omar, it's me. I found something on the old family computer. Your Bible app search history. I've been reading in secret. And Omar, I think you're right. I think Jesus is real. Don't stop because of me. Tell the truth." I wept. My baby sister, she believed, and she was willing to risk everything, just like Jesus. I knew what I had to do. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, community leaders, mosque representatives, and my father, sitting at the defense table, dressed in his finest clothes, looking every bit the respected imam. I sat across from him, flanked by my lawyer, a Christian man who had taken my case pro bono. The judge called the court to order, and the trial began. I testified for 3 hours. I presented the photos, the financial documents, the evidence. I told the court everything: the embezzlement, the abuse, the funding of extremist groups. My father's lawyer tried to discredit me. "Isn't it true you've left Islam?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "And isn't it true that apostates are known to lie about Islam?" "I'm not lying about Islam," I said calmly. "I'm telling the truth about my father." The lawyer smirked. "And you expect this court to believe the word of a kafir over that of a respected imam?" I looked at the judge. "I expect this court to look at the evidence," I said. And the evidence spoke for itself. Bank records showing large withdrawals with no documentation. Testimony from brave young men who came forward to share their stories. Forensic analysis of the secret room. It was overwhelming, undeniable. After 2 days of testimony, the judge delivered the verdict. Guilty on all counts. My father was sentenced to 15 years in prison. The courtroom erupted. Some cheered, others wept. My father stared at me across the room. His face was a mask of hatred. "You are no son of mine," he mouthed. I nodded. "I know," I whispered. But then, the prosecution turned to me. "Omar Khalidi," the judge said, "you are also charged with blasphemy under Section 295C of the Pakistan Penal Code for publicly renouncing Islam." My heart sank. "The penalty for this crime is death or life imprisonment," the judge continued. "However, given the circumstances and international pressure from human rights organizations," he paused, "you are offered a choice: immediate exile from Pakistan or imprisonment." Exile. I would never see my country again, never see my family, never walk the streets I grew up on. But I would be alive, and I would be free. "I choose exile," I said. The judge nodded. "So be it." Within a week, I was on a plane. Destination? A Western country that had granted me asylum. As the plane took off, I looked out the window at Karachi, the city of my birth, my childhood, my entire life, and I said goodbye. But I didn't cry, because I knew something now that I didn't know before. Home isn't a place, it's a person, and his name is Jesus. I've been in my new country for 6 months now. I work with a ministry that helps ex-Muslims. I receive messages every day, from Pakistan, from Iran, from Saudi Arabia, from Indonesia. People who are questioning Islam, people who are searching for truth, people who are afraid. And I tell them the same thing. I was afraid too, but Jesus is real, and he's calling you. Last week, I received a message that made me weep, from Zara. "Omar, I've left home. I'm in a safe house in Islamabad. I've accepted Jesus, and I'm being baptized next week. Pray for me." My baby sister, she chose him. And I know that God is not done yet, because he never is. My name is Omar Khalidi. I was the Imam's son who saw too much. I discovered that the man I worshipped as holy was a monster. I discovered that the religion I was raised in was built on fear, not love. And I discovered that Jesus, the one I was taught was just a prophet, is actually God. He died for me, he rose for me, and he set me free. I lost my father, I lost my country, I lost my name in the eyes of my community, but I gained a father who will never abandon me, a savior who calls me his own, and a family that spans the entire world. If you're watching this and you're trapped in a lie, if you've seen evil hiding in holy places, if you've been questioning, searching for, hoping for something more, know this: the truth is not a religion, it's a person. His name is Jesus, and he's calling you by name, just like he called me. Subscribe to this channel, share this story, pray for those still in darkness, because God sees, God cares, and God will bring every hidden thing to light. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. It did for me, and it will for you too.